Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Michael Marchuk,
And I'm Brad Hairston.
and welcome to Transform Now, the pulse check that we do on a weekly basis. And this week, we've got three articles to go through. And we'll start real quick here with one from CNN, talking about Sam Altman, our favorite nemesis here. Sam Altman says Meta is offering $100 million to poach his employees. Meta is offering them $100 million to poach his employees. Now, I'm hoping that's not just one person, although maybe it is. It's like a lottery ticket. But what are your thoughts on this article?
It's hard to imagine that there's that many people, individually worth $100 million, but good for them if that's the status they have. So this article it's about Sam, kind of revealing that his employees are being poached or trying to be poached by Meta, who has been in the news like crazy. Zuckerberg recently invested $14.3 billion in Scale.ai.
Right.
He hired the co-founder to Alexandra Wang to be, one of his executives, partner in arms. So Meta is clearly, or I should say, Zuckerberg himself, clearly frustrated with the pace of innovation, the pace of change, bringing new stuff to market from his own company. And boy, he's throwing money around, and this attempt to go and hire away people from OpenAI is pretty crazy. What I thought was funny, Michael, was the response from Sam Altman. He said, "Yeah, Meta, they're not really that good at innovation." So a little zinger, there
Exactly.
in response. I'm sure he's not thrilled with what Meta's trying to do or Zuckerberg's trying to do. But Meta is very, they're taking aggressive measures here to try to get back in the race. I think they feel like they're behind the others, and I found the $14.3 billion investment in Scale.ai, which happened in the last week.
Right.
That alone is still, people are still trying to wrap their brains around that. Scale.ai is I've learned more about them. They're all about data labeling and training, and to the degree that you can speed up the way that your models are trained and become more capable. That seems to be kind of the holy grail right now. And so Scale AI was at the forefront of that. In fact, OpenAI is one of their biggest customers. And now Meta has a huge investment in them. I think 49% is what they could. So that also is another trend, Michael, that we're seeing. It's if you want a company and you feel like you need to have a huge partnership or collaboration with them, just go invest in 49% of them. You can't buy them, but throw $14.3 billion at them, and you can get some great advantage from that.
Exactly. Well, I think it's certainly a good purchase. I mean, let's talk about the Scale AI one, a good purchase for Meta for some obvious reasons, because they have a whole lot of data that is likely, about the pictures and the stuff that they've got that people have been sharing for decades, that are unlabeled, right? To be able to take that data, to label it, leveraging Scale AI's technology, and then be able to retrain their own models on that. That's huge. I mean, that's something that others can't do.
Right.
So it's just very interesting to see that. And who would have known that, 20 years ago when Aunt Mabel was sharing pictures of her vacation on a cruise somewhere, that eventually that data would be used to train a model for AI to learn that. So very interesting concept.
When billionaires get frustrated or feel like they're behind, they start slinging the money around, and that's certainly what Zuckerberg's doing. And not only slinging the money around, but trying to hire away your team. So
Exactly.
we'll see if he's successful at it, but it sounds like Sam Altman feels like he's not going to get any of them. In fact, he said that all attempts to hire away people have failed thus far.
Yeah, well, I wonder if that's 100 million is like a starting point of the negotiation. So we'll start off at 100 million, and we'll see where we go from there.
I'll
right?
take 90. I mean, if he wants to, I'll make it a deal if he wants to come hire me away.
I think that would be a really good deal. I think Sam wouldn't mind if you got hired away from our company, and I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg would be thrilled to be able to have you on their team for only $90 million. That's fantastic.
Oh, I meant $90. I didn't mean 90 million. I meant $90. Yeah, yeah. But
that's a deal.
I'll take whatever he wants to throw my direction.
Gotcha. All right, for our next episode, our next article is from Forbes, and this one's called "AI Agents Alone Won't Automate the Enterprise, but They Can Make It Smarter." So I've been talking a lot about AI agents and the concepts behind AI agents and why it's important that organizations understand what agents can do for them as they're building out their new technologies and the new capabilities. But as we've seen with many other technologies, the technology alone isn't enough, is it?
Yeah. No, it's not. And I think the overarching principle here from this article, the big takeaway is you need, agents are awesome. Everyone's going in that direction, but you need consistency, you need compliance, and that in and of itself requires orchestration. Agents have to be orchestrated, they have to be governed, and that includes human oversight in the right places. So no one is going to want to just let a bunch of agents loose and hope for the best. Those companies will not probably be around very long. But you need to treat them like a workforce, treat them like a true digital workforce. So that's really the thrust of the article. And I think the article goes into some of the places where agents are really going to shine, and we've talked about a lot of these examples in the past. But it's the context-heavy functions like customer service, classifying tickets, suggesting responses, resolving issues based on the sentiment of the customer, things like that. That's a big one, going to continue to be a big one. Finance is another hotbed, scanning invoices,
Very much so.
looking for anomalies, mitigating fraud, things like that. And then IT is the other one, just monitoring infrastructure, triggering remediation proactively, things like that. Agents are really good at that kind of those kind of processes where context is important. They're taking in lots of different types of information, and then they're using their reasoning ability. Enterprise data is great, but the ability to reason through that and to determine next steps and then act on that proactively, that's really the secret sauce. So, I think it was a good article, a short piece. But it was one that you read and you say, absolutely, orchestration is absolutely critical. And I think when companies develop and figure out the right approach for this, that's going to enable them to take the next step with agentic automation.
Yeah, I agree. So one of the things that they mentioned, the article's talking about, what makes the agents powerful isn't just their autonomy, but their ability to do this reasoning, whatever, with the data. But I also think the scale is critical because you can't have people, well, you could, it'd just be very expensive to have people working 24/7 trying to monitor and trigger all this remediation for IT fraud detection and whatnot in real time. You need armies of people to be able to do that, but that's really what technology is for. So having technology that can reason and be smart and do this is a very good application for this. Not just beyond the capabilities it offers, but the fact that it can do it at such scale. So really interesting. But in our last article here, agents are great, but they're not going to replace us. So Here's some things from another article in Forbes for how to stay ahead of AI. The human skills universities much teach. So I know we've talked about this a number of different times, and with several of our guests as well, on how education really needs to keep up to date with what they're teaching the students, who are no doubt using AI right along with their professors too, to do the assignments and to learn and to understand what they're working on. But the reality is that there's things that the universities really, really have to teach that aren't going to go away just because you have AI.
That's correct. And yeah, we've definitely belabored this point. And it gets
Let's beat that horse one more time, right?
Yeah, one more time. But I loved the article and I agree with it wholeheartedly. It even makes the statement toward the end: the future of work will undoubtedly be shaped by machines, but people will still lead it.
Yeah.
So it's emphasizing the fact that automation and machine learning are great technologies. They're giving us the opportunity to do things we've never done, but the most valuable skills in the market are going to continue to be the ones that are innately human. So why are our higher ed institutions and even educational systems below that, why are they not, with that knowledge, why are they not, pivoting and starting to spend more time on developing those skills, the ones that are innately human? Because just because they're innately human doesn't mean we do them well. And we can all get better at it. So he calls out kind of three big areas, and I'll just go through those. And again, I think they're great and very much needed in today's world. The first one is critical thinking and problem solving. So the ability to synthesize a lot of different pieces of information, analyze the nuances in that, challenge assumptions, and get to the point of making a good conclusion, a good recommendation. Now, all that sounds pretty normal and common sense, but the ability to do that really well is something that a lot of people struggle with. And in college, you can see like a trend toward, and they do this in grad school, not as much in undergraduate school where you and I went, but doing more case studies, going through scenarios and more group discussion, more teamwork, where you're working through these kind of situations. And again, taking in all this information, looking at assumptions, challenging assumptions, and then making an informed decision. So I think critical thinking and problem solving is something that all levels of educational systems really need to push on. The second one is emotional intelligence. And I don't have to say a whole lot about this, but this is becoming more and more and more necessary, especially as we start using machines more and more, because guess what? They don't have emotional intelligence. They may act like they do, but they don't. They struggle with understanding, first of all, they don't have emotions. Let's just get that out of the way. Secondly, they struggle at understanding your emotions and adjusting to that. Machines try to be empathetic. They try to act like humans, but they're just never going to get there. So the better we are as humans at emotional intelligence, then the more we're going to be able to extend that into a lot of different ways that our companies operate, the way we go to market, the way we relate to vendors and customers and partners and colleagues. Let's put that in there too, the better. And then the final one is adaptability and lifelong learning. And they reference the World Economic Forum report that said that by 2027, half of all workers will need to reskill. And I think that estimate has gone up, certainly, since the time the report came out. We're all going to need to reskill. And adaptability and lifelong learning is such an important skill set because, and it's not just, being ready to take on a different job or, if your job goes away because of automation or AI, can you reskill and do something different? I mean, that alone is important, But even within your job, you have to constantly be open to learning and be learning every single day in whatever ways you can, because technology is changing so quickly. And if you don't develop that skill and really apply yourself to it, you can get out of date within a few days of just by not staying up with it, talking to colleagues, reading, listening to podcasts. I won't say reading social media, because social media is sometimes totally off base with reality, actually many times off base with reality, but finding ways to continually, educate yourself and stay on top of things as they're happening. And don't just, lodge yourself into one place and say, now I get it, now I understand, because guess what? Something will happen tomorrow that will require you to learn more and to stay up to date. So, I think these are three really good things that were called out by the article. And I completely agree. We need to be training our young people, the next generation of workers, to do these things well, because we need those human skills. They're not going to go away. They're not going to be diminished or eliminated because of AI and reaching AGI. We need even more of them, honestly, than we have today. So I think it was a great article.
Yeah, it was very good. The thing you mentioned too about reskilling and whatnot, you're right in terms of the pace of changes, such that we need to, even our current roles that we play, understand how technology can help us be better at them. But it also gives us an opportunity to start looking at what other things we could do, even within the role that we're in, to help broaden out and keep us on the edge of our seats as we're looking forward to getting up on a Monday morning and starting to do this new thing, because I understand it better now.
Right.
So it's not just about not making sure you don't lose your job, but it's actually allowing you to actually enjoy your job, because now you can take a new perspective and approach it more strategically, rather than just looking at it as, well, I got to get up on Monday morning because my next job's got to do whatever. It really gives you some really good opportunities to grow yourself and help you feel good about doing it too. So, well, that's all we got for this week's Pulse Check. But as you know, every week we have a wonderful guest that comes and joins us and expresses all of their wonderful opinions as well. So join us for that also, and we'll see you on the next Pulse Check.